Boom. We are alive, ladies and gentlemen. It is good to be here. What a fun ride that was. Oh, I really like what's happened here. This was perfect. I think that, especially, well, we'll go over some of my sentiments today, but I think that that was the perfect little clean out moment we needed to head to $70,000. For those of you that saw this random kid who's never talked about Wyckoff before in his entire life, all of a sudden become hyper popular from making a Wyckoff distribution video, I think that's a clear sign that that moment is over, and that we're headed to probably new highs very shortly afterwards. There's a few things I want to go over. Generally speaking, you can find a distributional event on any time frame. Now, the most important thing to me is how relevant is that? Because if it only lasts for 24 hours, I don't care. It's a useless moment in time. Now, I did buy more Bitcoin yesterday. Yes, I did, because it was basically half price. And we know this. And I believe that it is going to run towards $70,000 probably pretty quickly here. I also want to give a shout out and thank you guys all for yesterday's support on the video that I made. My moment of 10 years into the future and the decade to come. So here we go, right? So generally everyone's like, oh, look, it's a big distributional event. And yes, very temporary though. I bet you that we move back into this range very quickly. And that's kind of the funny part here, is that now you have a bunch of people that are talking about Wyckoff who have never even once looked at the Wyckoff distribution events ever. So it's at least it's becoming more popular. This is one of the most effective ways to learn to trade, to study and understand the market psychology. But for me, I really don't care about these intermediary moves. They're temporary. So let's go back and again, take a look at this. And we've talked about this a few times before, is that one of the big disastrous moments is that people mistake these intermediary distributional events for the end of the market. And that's the only thing I care about. I don't give a shit if Bitcoin's price is going to drop just a little bit. Now, 50% for some of you might feel like a lot. Welcome to the crypto space. By the way, I'm going to try not to swear as much because I'm sure YouTube pushes me down in the rankings for doing so. Tio will be a little bit more kinder to make sure he bleeps all the words out from now on. Anyways, this is a beautiful analog to, I think, what we just witnessed here. So back in August, for those of you that were watching our video, we talked about this particular moment. There was a very clear intermediary Wyckoff distribution moment. You had your nice up thrust, right? Your last point of supply, your supply, and then boom, your sign of weakness. Now, very quickly too, less than 52 days later, we are off screaming to new all-time highs. So if you don't understand the importance of the distributional event or where it is in your time frame, it's basically useless, right? So let's say a bunch of people got scared out because the way this kid was charting it made it look like we could go, basically the bull market was over. I don't think that that's the case. I think that this was a very extraordinarily temporary moment, which you could, again, so in the general Wyckoff distribution, you would come down, you'd go like this, and then the bull market's basically over. If this is like a true distributional event. And this is kind of what I had talked about in my previous videos, is being aware of the difference of an intermediary distributional event and the end of the market. And I'm really only concerned with two main things. I want to know when the market started, and I want to know when the market is finished. I do not believe the market is finished. And this, again, is the deceiving part. Had you thought that the market was finished because of this distributional moment back here in August, well, that would have sucked for you, right? So this was actually just a new area to buy more Bitcoin. Right, and this is the analog we had gone over a bunch of times that I thought we was hoping we wouldn't see, but now we get to see what I believe is this new reaccumulation, probably very similar to what we witnessed back in August, when we've been going over this stuff for quite some time. So, not to rag on the newbie, I love that Wyckoff is all of a sudden popular and mainstream now. What I think that they got wrong is understanding how to size up the market as a whole. Right, so we took our positions and started opening most of our positions around these first reaccumulation range because this was a clear and obvious spring. And for those of you that are new to the channel, you can go back and watch all of our videos where we've been going over these Wyckoff accumulation ranges for the last year and a half now. Because look, here's the Wyckoff accumulation range that started the bull market. This is what we were most interested in. I have not touched this drawing since March. Here we go, is our buying climax, our secondary test, our spring, our test, our LPS, and that sent us into new all-time highs. Now, one of the fun parts here is that we've this is probably just an LPS along the way to much higher market moves. Now, if you happen to be in the private group, which I do not have open, I want to take a look at something. So this was shared from the Global Macro Investor. I believe Raoul Pal shared it this morning as well. This is the 2010 to 2013 bull market cycle overlapped with the 2020 to 2021 bull market cycle. In white, you can see where we are today, and in the blue, the previous market cycle. And lo and behold, if you've ever done yourself the favor of understanding what scale invariant means, or you happen to like fractal mathematics because you're a weirdo like me and happen to take a bunch of psychedelics and enjoy studying weird things like mathematics in your spare time, you would recognize that everything in the universe is made up of a few simple ideas behind roughness and some basic geometries, usually measured out by the Fibonacci sequence itself, or 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and so on forever, infinity. Anyways, don't want to get lost on a tangent there because it's definitely a repeating tangent you could go over for a lifetime, maybe 3. So here we are right now, and I believe we've actually witnessed something very akin to what we saw in 2010. Bang, spike back down, likely reaccumulation cycle that's going to take place, and then we're going to fire up much higher. Now, I don't believe we actually go as high as the $400,000 mark here, which is set or would be equivalent to what we saw in 2013. Just as we had a huge peak off here and we had a nice rounded top here, I believe we get to around 150, maybe $180,000, and that's pushing it. 120,000 is pretty clear, and then we spend probably the next 3 to 5 years reaccumulating between $60,000 and $120,000. So what's important about these moments? Understanding where you are in the market is more important than understanding just the accumulation and distribution cycles, because they're momentary, right? For those of you that have been following the channel for quite some time, we've gone over all the reaccumulation channels and distribution channels. Now, here's the difficult part, right? Say we're back in 2018. You're watching some kid's video who lives in a treehouse and with a bed on the floor. Not knocking putting a bed on the floor. I often put my bed on the floor because I have a beautiful view on the jungle with like this. It's like an infinity bed, basically. Anyways, point of this story was, it would be very easy to go, oh, well, look, this is a distributional moment right here, right? Like, oh, well, here's my up thrust, right? And then, oh my God, distribution took place. But look how not important that was. It was totally irrelevant in the rest of the market cycle. And for me, I want to know 2 things, 2 clear things. And anybody who studies Wyckoff is also interested in these 2 things. And if they're not paying attention to the full story. A, when did the spring take place? Because that starts the market cycle. And when does distribution actually take place? These intermediary distribution cycles happen multiple times, and they are basically worthless information to understand. Now, again, on the plus side, you have hundreds of thousands of people now that are likely paying more attention to Wyckoff accumulation and distribution ranges than ever before, which is fantastic. You have to remember Mr. Richard Wyckoff started going over these ideas in the early 1930s, right? This is not new. But the only second portion of distribution I'm interested in is when the market is over. Because if you focus on these little distributional potential moments here, you're like, oh, see, it was a distribution. The price dropped 50%, and you leave your position. What was the point of doing that? So here's what I want to go over. Number 1, having US dollars on the side is always a smart thing to do because it's a useful tool in the moment when everything drops 50%. That would have been a great moment to take advantage of here, right? You're like, yeah, look, this is a clear look. It's a clear Wyckoff distribution. Here's your PSY. Here's your UTAD, and we drop. Yay! But look, how irrelevant is that? I'm not going to jump out of a position. And do you sell your house every time the price changes? No. If you're smart, what you learn how to do is put your house up for collateral if you need extra money. You learn how to make sure that you're renting it out in your spare time or putting it on Airbnb. You don't dump your position because of this little dinky move because you've not sized up the market properly. And that's what I want to get across, because a bunch of you guys shared that distribution video, the Bitcoin manipulation. Now, congrats. Yes, it was a temporary distribution, but those things are basically unconcerning to me. A bunch of you asked, like, oh, it was a distributional moment. No, it wasn't technically. A distributional moment that only lasts 72 hours is basically freaking irrelevant. I don't have time to worry about that. But Make sure you have extra US dollars on the sideline for when these moments happen, because they are intermediary. And a perfect example, again, was back here when we were in September, August, charting these much larger Wyckoff accumulation ranges. Here was a temporary distributional moment. If you had been like, oh my God, I wish I could have gotten out here and then rebought back here, like, pfft, you suck. Why even waste your time? You have better things to be doing with your life than trying to capture this little bit of a moment, whether it's 18% or 15%. Because look, ladies and gentlemen, we got the spring right, we got the larger reaccumulations right. We are up 3 to 7x already, right? Even after that moment. So let's pay attention to what's most valuable. Was this a temporary distributional event? Yes, I think this was very temporary. I think that we are going to $70,000 very quickly. And if you jumped out here and you tried to buy back in here and you missed it, like you've only gained like a few percent, you've stared at the screen, you've lost your stomach, like it's not worth it, I promise you. What I suggest though, instead of listening to people, even like me, listen to people that have made hundreds of millions or billions of dollars. Read the books Dan Dow. Read the book 100 Baggers. Both of the gentlemen who are authors of those contexts made hundreds of millions and billions of dollars. That's so important to understand. You probably want to listen to people that have actually capitalized on those moments effectively. Anyways, that's what I wanted to share. Not trying to rag on anyone. I just thought it was funny. So here we go. So what happens when this distributional moment comes right back into the box? What does it become then? What happens when we go soup, and we're on our way to $70,000? This is a huge potential right now. Is that this may not even last a month or two where we're in this region. Now, I would actually hope that we get a little bit more of a reaccumulation zone where we spend some time here in 40,000. Be great. I can buy more Bitcoin at a discounted price. But trust me, ladies and gentlemen, it is not worth trying to capitalize on this little bit. If you were not prepared for a potential drop here, you weren't listening. I had gone over the potential to drop to $32,000 every freaking video because I said, hey, look, this could turn into a temporary moment of reaccumulation after decline. And it is horrible, horrible to mistake an intermediary distributional moment for basically what just becomes a larger reaccumulation range. Because what you want to do is size the market up as a whole. Now, let's say I'm wrong. Let's say I'm wrong. The market's over. Well, fuck, that sucks, right? The market would be over. If that kid's right, the market is over. We're going to like $8,000 Bitcoin. I don't think that's true at all. This is likely a very temporary moment and we're going much higher. Keep that in mind. This little bit here is not worth dinking around with. You should be out doing something useful with your life. Was this a temporary distribution moment? Yes, but just like the temporary distribution moment that we saw back in August, it's not worth your time getting in and out of the market. You should have US dollars sitting on the sideline. You should have noticed that, hey, look, there's an obvious potential to go down to $32,000 here. We're like, look, this is a clear analog. This could happen where we go much higher. I'm concerned with pricing up the market as a whole, not these smaller intermediary moves. That's it, right? And guys, listen to the people that have made billions of dollars. Don't even listen to me. Like I said, go read books by like The Alchemy of Finance. That's a great book. Dan Dow, great book. 100 Baggers, great book. All of those people have made billions of dollars. Why you want to listen to some kid who lives in a basement with a bed? Now, I'm not ragging him. I've been a kid living in a basement with a bed on the floor, but too, I'm not like, congratulations. Like I love how random the internet. First off, let's give a shout out to how amazing the internet is. I'm going to sound kind of like an idiot here while I do this. One of the most amazing things about the internet is it really opens the playing field to anybody who wants to play. I feel sorry for typing this. Fat kid camping. Excuse me, I don't know how else to find this video, but this kid had 70 subscribers and made this video about camping overnight in a blizzard and got 17 million views. So for those of you that don't know, out of nowhere, a kid who was just like, hey, I'm gonna make a little video like I camp outside to celebrate 70 subscribers, all of a sudden went to 600,000 subscribers. I love the internet. It does the most amazing things. It levels the playing field. Anybody who has a voice and wants to share, the internet offers them the opportunity to do so. But just understand where they are in their life and understand the relevance of that feature and function. I think it's extremely important. Like I said, I try to listen to the people who have already been extraordinarily successful and ignore everything else in between, because that's what it is. It's everything else in between. And if you had gotten pushed out of a position the last little while because you think that this is the end of the bull market, or if you'd gotten pushed out of your position just like down here, because you thought that this was the end of the bull market, which is basically an intermediary temporary distributional moment like this one right here. Ding. Whew, you missed out on all the fun, and a lot of the fun at that. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. We'll finalize with Bitcoin. We're not going to look at too much else today. Feeling super amped up. I hope I didn't sound rude to that. Like, I'm not trying to diss anybody. Like I said, I fucking love what the internet does for people. It's amazing. That's amazing. Like, a kid who's never made videos about Bitcoin all of a sudden makes one video and he's more popular than we are. That's fucking amazing. I seriously think the internet is amazing because of that. Just, I want to make sure I'm clear, because I know I could sound like an asshole sometimes. It's not my intent right now. I'm trying to tell you how fucking awesome I think the internet is, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so let's take a look at where we are in the market by ignoring the Wyckoff distribution and just take a look at some of the more fundamental aspects here. We bounced right off our previous area of resistance and we've flown up. One of the other important parts now is on the 6 hour specifically, we are back in the positive on the Bollinger Bands, above the bottom of the Bollinger Band and the bottom of the moving averages. We are likely going to rip back to $48,000. Again, I would like to see a little bit of a reaccumulation after decline moment here. That would be sexy. It would give me a bunch more time to buy Bitcoin at hopefully these discounted prices, where we come up to 46, we go down to 38, we come up to 47, we come down to 39, and then we're well on our way to $100,000. That's what I think is going to happen. Now, it would be even funnier to me if we just did this and then this was a giant spring. It would be fucking hilarious. Because again, these moments in the market are probably the most difficult to ascertain where we are, because we're in the middle of the market. What you want to really do is size up the market as a whole. You want to get in on the spring. You want to follow the people who are making videos way back here about these moments. I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, ladies and gentlemen. You want to focus on the people that are there at the beginning of the market, not trying to call the middle of it. That's just abstract to me. But nonetheless, again, I love what happened. I'm just pointing out the value of following people who have made billions of dollars. I'm not including myself in that situation, but I definitely try to share the wisdom of those people that have. So this is the moment where you wanted to enter the market. This was the spring. And for those of you that are new to studying the Wyckoff trading ranges, this is a very, very, very important moment. You almost don't even need charts to find it, generally speaking. The spring is highlighted by irrational fear. And yesterday was the most fearful moment our markets have seen since the pandemic. We reset all the indicators pretty much. So the spring here is highlighted by an extraordinary amount of irrational fear. This was the start of the pandemic, the day the WHO declared a pandemic. Yay for the WHO. They suck at their jobs. I made videos about the pandemic in January. Well, the WHO didn't even get here till March. They suck. They're basically fire the WHO. Get rid of that criminal organization. Hopefully I don't get banned for that. I'll stay in my lane here, ladies and gentlemen. But the spring is highlighted by an irrational moment of fear. And yesterday we had an irrational moment of fear. Now, something I wanted to go over, which I thought was a little bit crazy, was this. So 4chan, if you've ever followed 4chan, this is important. Well, 4chan is full of random people. They can post randomly whenever they want. But what's interesting here is that approximately 8 hours before the news from the Chinese ban came out, a random user who says we should pay attention to this, China will recycle used white guys, says, hey guys, an insider here. For those of you that are not too busy with mumbo jumbo LARPing, you should maybe pay attention. There will be an announcement from China soon. Well, you got that part right. Now, I don't know how many times you would have to post that to get it right, because almost every bull market, China does make one of these announcements that they're banning crypto in some way. But the picture is semi-related. I can't tell you guys who or what firm I work for, but it's massive. And it's working for the People's Republic of China. That's basically like saying I work with the Federal Reserve. China does not distinguish itself the same way the United States does in going, you know what, the Federal Reserve at least won't buy or sell Bitcoin on their own accord, right? They'll stay out of doing some shady shit. They still do a bunch of shady shit. I'm swearing already again. That didn't last very long. But the purpose of today's press release, alongside all of the FUD, is actually going to come out at 7 a.m. Well, God, you nailed that right, too. The odds of getting that correct 8 hours ahead of time is ridiculous. Nailed the timing, nailed the news. Okay, I want to know what this guy has to say. Clearly, this is interesting, right? First off, there's going to be a coordinated sell-off to try to drop the prices below a certain threshold to liquidate one particular person. Well, that's interesting. Why would the People's Republic of China want to do that? I don't know, because maybe they pissed off Xi Jinping by saying something stupid, or maybe China wants to take Bitcoin away from the people who have found a way to keep the money away from the government, right? Bitcoin allows you to do that. Maybe they pissed the government off. I have no idea, but I'm just circumspeculating. Well, circumnavigating an idea. So I can't outright say who he is, but he was partially responsible for that dip to begin with. Once liquidated, the plan is to buy up all the reserves and essentially leave this particular person bankrupt. If you guys want to get rich, grab some coffee at 7 a.m., wait for the dip. Once it happens, we're going to go green really fast, and we project 70K. Now, if this motherfucker is just making, God, I can't not swear. This guy, if he's just faking it, he got so many things right that it's just probably not a fake. First off, you got the timing 9 hours ahead of the release of the China FUD. You've got the timing, which was incredibly accurate as well. I woke up at 7 a.m. to witness this shit going on. So something here tells me that this may have been coordinated. Now, again, you have to remember right now, if the Federal Reserve wanted to short Bitcoin, they could basically push Bitcoin's price down to zero. The Federal Reserve could, with an infinite bank supply, could go, hey, you know what? We're going to make Bitcoin zero. And just go and take shorts on every step of the way. They could do that. If you have enough money, you can push the price around. That's the end of the story for that one. So I thought this was kind of an interesting conversation. I don't know if it's true or not, but getting these three things right, the timing, hours before the news came out, the time that it took place, which is pretty crazy, and then the only people on the world who would probably have enough money to push the price down on purpose like that if they wanted to. Just to screw one person over. Think about what they did to Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know this. I'm probably not going to be allowed back in China for this. Xi Jinping bans Winnie the Pooh. So for those of you that don't know, China bans Winnie the Pooh after they compared Winnie the Pooh and and their president, right? So because of this, because someone said this guy looks like this like this cartoon, they banned Winnie the Pooh from China. So don't negate what the Chinese People's the People's Republic of China might want to do to fuck one particular person over. Yeah, I just can't not swear. It's impossible. Anyways, okay, so let's take a look. Yeah, I hope that we get a reaccumulation area like this. Somewhere between 35,000 and 41,000 for the next 2 months. That would be fantastic. I don't think we're going to $70,000 today. That would be great, but I don't think it's going to happen today. Now, there are some clear signs that we'll actually see a run up a little higher today. If we look at our Bollinger Bands, I'm feeling a quick move up to 49,000 would be nice. It would test one of the areas and then build a nice steady reaccumulation zone here. That would be great. That was an enormous amount of supply that came into the market. If we go and look at our Glassnode data, look, we have not seen this much supply come onto the market in quite some time. Again, whoever was able to take that position, they had a fucking endless basket of money to do so. That was clear. That was clear. It's basically like if you had $1 trillion and you're like, hey guys, let's go short 3x. You can do whatever you want at that point. Because look at this. They were able to squeeze out almost 1% of the entire, almost 2% of the entire Bitcoin supply in a single move. That's extraordinary. So this might actually hold more weight than one might figure from a 4chan board. I'm not gonna second guess that one. Anyways, nice to see that we're back in the middle of the Bollinger Bands and moving up above all of our moving averages right now. Again, I do suspect that this was just the perfect moment. I would really find it funny if this just basically was even just a giant spring and we continued to reaccumulate above the regression line. That would be hilarious, because then, yeah, this was not distribution. This was basically just an exaggerated spring. So keep that in mind. Again, it's very difficult to tell in the middle of the market. That's why what you want to do is know about Wyckoff accumulation zones before the market starts, which was way back here. back in March. You can go back to all of our videos. As a matter of fact, let's do that for fun. For those of you, I didn't mean to call Fat Kid Camping. I just know that's how I found that video. I think that, again, I'm just trying to highlight how amazing that was. Go make sure you subscribe to the Arcane Bear channel. Give us a thumbs up if you like this content. Let's go to videos. How far back would we have to scroll? Probably a ridiculous ways back. But for those of you that don't know, we've been going over this Wyckoff stuff for over a year now. One of the reasons why is because it is extraordinarily valuable. Apparently, a simple thumbnail. Yeah, here we go. Here's our Wyckoff accumulation ranges taking place. Here, this is where you wanted to know about the Wyckoff accumulation range. Bam, right here. Let's take a look at this. This is a beautiful video. Let's take a look back. We have to backstep. Yes, here we are. Here we are looking at the Wyckoff accumulation ranges, our spring, our test, our LPS. There is the distribution, and here's our reaccumulation range that worked out fucking perfectly. Don't negate how important it is to get into the bull market, and because then you can worry much less about what's happening in the middle of it. Boom, this is Teal with the Arcane Bear. Thank you guys all for joining us today. Please remember to subscribe to all of our channels down below. Again, if I sounded like I was ragging on anyone, I'm not. I'm just a fucking fiery talker. I love how the internet works. I love how random it is. It's beautiful. Let's take a look at some of our other, let's just take a look at some of our conversations. I think that'll be fun. Okay, let's see where we're at here. Some of you guys say, it just can't swear. Yeah, I know. Oh, this has been playing in the background. We'll stop that. There we go. I can't not swear, apparently. Let's take a look here. I'm going to go over some of your guys' thoughts and questions here on the iPad. So I'm going to open this up. Okay, Justin Sun got liquidated from 606,000 ETH. I don't think that that's the case. I believe Justin Sun said he bought spot price, by the way. So you can't get liquidated for something you buy on spot price. It's okay, you speak your mind. Yeah, I'm just on fire. How is banning poo any different from Twitter's ban on people that they don't agree with? No, that's what I'm saying. That don't mess with the People's Republic of China if you happen to be in their firing range. Luckily, I live in Costa Rica. I don't know. Whales are going to make it dip again. Yes. Yeah. No. We'll probably see a reaccumulation range like this. The chart is still open. You'll probably see a reaccumulation range. If we're lucky, it'll be right along the previous regression line. If it's just even funnier if it would come back and just be a spring, that I think would be just classic funny. Hey, getting in at 41,000 is good. Your info is so accurate. Ishran Bijani. You know, guys, I want to bring up something here. Let me ask you a question. Let's say you owned a house. Would you sell your house every time the price dropped? Or you'd be like, oh my God, the price of real estate is down a little bit today. If I'd sold my house yesterday, I'd have an extra $30,000 on my house. No! What you need to do is understand the fucking value of something. Yeah, I just can't not swear. It's like, what are those people that swear all the time randomly? There's like a medical word for it. Anyways, you need to understand the value of what you're buying so that you don't focus on the price. If you know the value of Bitcoin, and I hope that you do, it should be worth millions of dollars per Bitcoin. At least 500,000. Let's go with Kathy Wood because she's so freaking sexy. Bitcoin's worth at least $500,000. So what's the value? That's the important part. What's the value of Bitcoin? Well, who fucking cares what the price is if you know what the value is? I'm not going to sell my property. Like, I got a waterfall, hundreds of fruit trees, private well. You're like, oh, the prices of real estate is down. It's 2008. My house is technically worth 50% of the price. I'm not stupid. Don't be stupid. Know the value of something and the price becomes irrelevant. I'm not saying you're stupid either. We just make stupid mistakes. Let's be clear. You and what you decide to do are not the same thing. I've done lots of stupid things. Doesn't mean I'm stupid. I'm human. Let's be clear about that. I want to make sure I'm not offending anybody. Or if I do offend you, well, then you suck. Go away. Go somewhere else. Unlike the video. Dislike it for all I care. Okay. It's so sad the amount of pumping on this dip. It's extremely bearish of now, both fundamentally and technically. It is not Bearish fundamentally or technically. Jerry Flopper, sounds like you're new here. What is the nicest beach in Costa Rica? I'm just going to say the beach that I live on here as well. What indicators are you using, sir? Indicators are almost unimportant to some degree. You should be focusing on longer term value acquisitions, but I use a lot. I've got Bollinger Bands, VPVR, but more importantly than that, but basically mostly use the Wyckoff reaccumulation ranges, and we try to size up the market as when did the market start and when did the market end. That's it. I'm very scared. It's 5:19 and I'm in China now. Quick, turn off my video. They're probably looking for me. Tourette's, that's the one. Yeah, I just swear randomly. Thank you, guys. Okay, so swearing is honesty. Kathy Woods is 2 times your age. Yeah, I don't care. I flirt with a older woman anytime. She's smart as fuck. Can I work for you, Kathy Wood? I'm joking. I don't need the work. I love what I do here, but I do have a crush on Kathy Wood just because she's such a gangster. Intelligent people tend to swear a lot. Wise people learn to control their swearing before it's spoken. Yeah, I'm getting older, and I will definitely start swearing less. But I'm just when I'm on fire, I can't control it. What does the reused white guys mean? They might have been aiming at someone specific that they didn't like that just happened to be white. So he was trying to give a hint. Maybe. So we must be 45ths the way through the bull cycle. Yeah, I believe we're about to see a nice reaccumulation range here, and then we're going to go to around $120,000. I'm sticking by that. That's been my sentiment since April, more or less. What do you think about microdosing on mushrooms? I love mushrooms. I take psychedelic mushrooms frequently. I have a bunch in my fridge right now that I picked here because they're illegal in Costa Rica. I can walk down to and I can grab them out of the jungle, and I could eat them right off the ground. So I love them. But this is not medical or financial or medicinal advice. Don't eat mushrooms you find from the ground unless you know exactly what you're doing. I'm gonna get my channel banned here by accident. Please don't ban me, YouTube gods. I promise I'll be a good boy and not swear anymore. With that in mind, remember to subscribe to the Arcane Bear channel. Go to arcanebear.com. Subscribe to our free newsletter. But if you like trying new things and you consider yourself adventurous, go to arcanebear.com/private and join our private mastermind group where we have over pretty much 900 to 1,000 people that are always working together on providing the best real-time updates of what's going on and focusing on these longer-term value investments into the venture capital sector itself. Again, if you have not yet, go to Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. We post there all the time. Just there's a new thing we like, mercurial.finance. Check that out too. I don't even need to go any further than that. If you're smart enough to play the game, you will. The next thing. That's a funny one. People being funny. I always love people being funny. People being funny on the Twitters. That's a good one. Follow us on Twitter. It's a great place to be funny. I like posting memes here. There was a good dip one earlier today. Where is it? Yeah, there we go. Hey, look guys, look, a dip. How important is that? I want to know when the market starts and when the market's over. That's it. That's all I care about. Okay, next thing. That's it. We're leaving it at that. Thank you guys all for joining us today. Oh, wait, hold on. Bhavesh Kumar says, have you read the news? A mysterious Bitcoin whale who sold 3,000 Bitcoin at 58K bought back 3,521 Bitcoins the last 3 days. Great. That's an extra 521 Bitcoin for them. That's fantastic. The Bear Den was the best investment I've made this year. Thanks, Stefan. I appreciate that kind sentiment. We work, because it's not just me, but the community of the mastermind works really hard together to make sure that everyone is doing as well as possible. It's not just me. I'm probably the meanest person in the group because I also have to be the welcome guest and the bouncer. I'm like the Walmart greeter, but also the guy that has to kick you out. So I'm like the Joker. I can play both parts. Do you get Nicholas Merton to dose with you? I'm not going to answer questions like that. But Nick and I are hanging out today. Hopefully we're going to do a podcast. That should be fun. Nick can decide to tell you whatever he wants to tell you, and that's Nick's story. I'm not gonna, even if we did, I wouldn't tell you, and even if we didn't, I wouldn't tell you. So, what good does that do you? I tell you if I did, because I can talk my own shit. Next week, 58K. I actually hope we get a bit more time in this reaccumulation range. I hope it's a bit longer lived. Do you think this dip disproves the super cycle theory? I've always thought the super cycle theory was bullshit. So I've never once thought, I never needed anything else to disprove it. We're not going to $1 million all of a sudden. That's not how markets work. Fucking idiots. Or at least they're stupid enough to believe their own bullshit. Like, I don't know, or they're either ignorant or stupid enough to believe their own bullshit. One of the two. But definitely no super cycle theory. Will we go to $1 million Bitcoin? Yes. Will it happen soon? No. Anyways, Steel with the Arcane Bear. Thank you guys all for joining us today. I had a great time riffing and ranting with you all. This is always fun. I'm going to do a video today where we go out into the jungle. For those of you that don't know, I live in Costa Rica. I've got a little 2.5 acre farm. I say little, but I hire someone full time to help me take care of it, because it is 2 acres is actually not all that little. It takes a lot of work to maintain and manicure. But we grow everything from avocados to ayahuasca, cacao to turmeric. I got a little private waterfall on here. And after yesterday's look into the next 10 years, I got a lot of great feedback that you guys want to see more kind of just sit down philosophical videos. So I will start to include those in the video as well. This is T with the Arcane Bear. Again, thank you guys all for joining us today. I really appreciate the support. You guys are my family. Remember to tell your mother and father that you love them. If you do, if you don't, that's okay. Some people suck. I understand. You can't always love everybody. Sometimes you're better off alone. But for the most part, if you had good parents, tell them you love them, because they're extremely important people, or anyone else that happened to be in your life that was a role model that helped guide and shape you to keep you falling off the edge and being absolutely criminal and destructive with your life. Be grateful for those people. The people that stick around when you're having your hard times, the people that support you when you feel like jumping off the edge. Make sure you know they know that you love them and that you know that they love you. The Steel with the Arcane Bear. Anyways, I'm just trying to go with that one. I was not wrong about the Wyckoff 2 days ago. You probably witnessed an intermediary distribution and you got fucking shaken out, I bet, because you're a little pussy. That kid lives on a floor. Don't forget that. Don't forget who you listening to for data. Steel with the Arcane Bear.